We're live.
All right.
So give me a sec. I'm going to let people find it. I'm going to share it. All right, come on in, everybody. Welcome back to the Holler. I am Holler founder Justin Canoe. We are at the TN Holler on Twitter and Facebook. TNHoller.com is the website. We have hollers all over the state because of your support and generosity. Follow all of these hollers in your local holler. We try to yell the truth about what's going on here in Tennessee, and subscribe and support over at TNHoller.com. Today we have a really special interview going on. One that I found out is actually even more special than I realized. We're talking to Sadaidriene Hall, one of the ETSU basketball players who is currently on his way away from ETSU. He has decided to transfer away from ETSU because of what's going on there and because of a lot of the controversy swirling around, starting with the player's decision to kneel for the anthem, which was controversial at ETSU. And there has since been a lot of public pressure and backlash, particularly from a lot of the Tennessee state Republicans. This Tennessee senators sent a letter to the university saying no more kneeling during the anthem. And that put a lot of pressure on the schools. And then most recently, we've just now learned that Coach Shay, who had expressed support for what the players were doing, has now resigned. Resigned is an interesting word there because most people don't actually believe this was really a mutual resignation. But we're here talking with Day Hall, who has made a decision to transfer. Day, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, and you?
I'm pretty good. Thank you, first of all, for joining us here. I want everybody to know that we can see your comments on Facebook and Twitter. So feel free to comment and ask questions, express your support. I'll try to get to them with Day. But Day, what I wanted to do with you first and foremost is, if you could, can you take me back to the decision by the team to kneel during the anthem? And how did that come about?
So I wasn't here for that meeting when they had it. I came a little like 2 weeks later, like later on. So I was just like in the mix with everything. So I had to like go with it. I couldn't disagree or anything with it.
Gotcha. So the decision was made, and you were actually new to the team. You transferred, I think, in January, or you showed up in January, and you're a freshman, and so
Yes,
you're
sir.
saying the decision was made by the team to kneel, and you guys had been kneeling before the Chattanooga game, right? The kneeling had been going on. It's just this was the first time that it was out in the open.
Yes.
Okay, and so when the backlash first happened, it was the UT Chattanooga game. You guys kneel. This is the picture that everybody's now familiar with. And there was an uproar. What was the feeling among the team when the backlash happened? Uh, how did it resonate with you guys? Were you surprised?
So we were surprised when we found out. We lost courage kind of, but Coach Shay, he kept us with it. Like, stay with it. I'm behind y'all 100% no matter what goes on. I'm with y'all. So I mean, it made it better, and we just kept playing and kept trying to get better and better and prepare for the next game. to be SoCon champions.
And you did keep kneeling, or did you not keep kneeling?
We stopped after that game because he said our voice has been heard. So like we just chilled out with it.
Okay. And when you saw, did you see a lot of the people in power in Tennessee, especially in your area at ETSU, which it should be said, Eastern Tennessee is a predominantly white area. These are black basketball players. Uh, did it feel like the backlash when you saw things like Senator Rusty Crowe saying this kind of activity will not be tolerated? Did it feel racial?
To me, it didn't feel racial as it did probably to others on the team, but it just had me thinking, just like our voice cannot be heard this way. So, like, where's the freedom of speech at? And like, how can we protest peacefully without being backlash or anything? And it was
Right.
just like, gotta be a bigger person in this situation. You gotta find different ways to go about your business and how to handle yourself in this like type of situation, especially when you're like 14 hours from home and everything.
And why were you kneeling in the first place in general? What was the message trying to be sent from the team?
Well, for the team, I don't know their reasoning, but I have my own reasoning because we all had our own reasoning for why we kneeled.
And what
So
was yours?
my reasoning was the police brutality, like the things that we faced, and things we faced for over the last 400 years. It's just everybody doesn't go through that besides us, and I think our voice should be heard because we the ones who hurt on the inside, and we go through the negativity all through our lives because we're colored. And everybody doesn't notice, like they don't notice that really. They see it like in their own eyes and their perspective, and they can go the way they want to go about it instead of listening to how we feel.
Gotcha. Okay. So just to move us forward now through the timeline, um, there was a backlash from Tennessee Senate Republicans. The entire Senate caucus in Tennessee sent a letter again saying that schools needed to prohibit this. There was even Senator John Lundberg, who's in your area, said it was like flipping the anthem, the bird. And I guess I would just say to you, when you hear people saying that this was disrespectful to veterans, for instance, is that how you intended it? And do you understand where they're coming from when they say that?
So I understand where they're coming from. I have family members in the army who fought for us and everything, so I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything. It was just to have our voice heard, and my team wanted to kneel, so I was with them 100%, dealing with them through their decision.
So, people, to give some context, here at the Holler, we try to shine a light on a lot of things that go on here in the state. And just to give some context for the people that sent that letter, the Tennessee Senate Republicans, they are also the people that are defending the KKK statue that's in our legislature. They also passed a bill or have a bill that they're carrying that would make it easier to run over protesters who are protesting, which actually did happen in your area in Johnson City. So that's not hypothetical. There's a bill to penalize protesters who camp on property because of the 63-day protest that happened at the Capitol. And then there's all kinds of other things like, legislators making fried chicken jokes to black legislators. So there's sort of an overall vibe in Tennessee. And I think this needs to be taken in context, especially when this pressure comes directly from Tennessee Senate legislators, such as Senator Mike Bell, who has a bill currently that guarantees free speech on campus must not impede a student's ability to express political viewpoints, which it seems like maybe doesn't extend to black players. So that brings me back to you, Day Day. When did you first hear that Coach was quote unquote resigning?
So we heard about Coach Shay resigning yesterday evening at 3:30. So he walks in and it's quiet because like it's something important. First words he said was, "I'm resigning." So we're like resigning, like what you're leaving for? it was like, I think it's best for me and my family. Like, Coach Shay has been battling adversity all year long, and people don't understand that he's doing it for the right reason. He's not doing it for himself because he doesn't have the problems that we have. He wants us, as his players, as his family members, to have the privilege to do the things that he can do. And once he told us that, the locker room was like dead silent because we knew it was like coming to an end, which we didn't want it to happen because Coach Shay's a great coach. He's a great guy. He shows integrity and got good characters. Like, so with all that being said, it's just like, what did he deserve for that? Like, all he did was do the right thing. Like, Coach Shay's been there for 6 years, I want to say, and he's won them 4 championships, 4 out of 6 times. So I mean, this man's there doing the right thing, and he stands up one time, and he gets fired. But I can see if it was a black head coach who done that, could get fired, but not Coach Shay, not a white privileged person get fired for something standing for blacks in the community. So with that being said, and I seen how he got fired over that, that told me it was time for me to leave because it's nothing right going on here with all this, everything in Tennessee.
Day, how sure are you, and I know this is going to sound like a stupid question, but how sure are you that his resignation is connected to his decision to support the kneeling players?
Can you say it one more time?
How sure are you that Coach Shay resigning, quote unquote, is connected to his support for the kneeling players?
See, part of that, I feel like he stood up for us. So that's a reason, but I don't think that's the full reason why he's resigning.
You think there are other things involved?
I really do, but I don't know exactly what they are. But I think that he was forced out to resign. He wouldn't resign just to resign because he loves the coaching job and he loves basketball way too much to resign just because.
I guess let me put it to you a different way. If he hadn't supported the players when they were kneeling, would he still be coaching at ETSU?
I'll say he would be. I'll say he'll still be there no matter what. I think he'll still be there.
Okay. All right. So now I want to ask you something. A lot of people in the backlash to Coach Shay being forced out are essentially saying, and some people have been saying this for a long time, that athletes should think twice about coming to Tennessee because of things like this, because of Coach Shay being forced out, the Grand Wizard bust in our capital. Activist Justin Jones puts it like this. He said the same Tennessee politicians who just forced the ETSU coach to resign because he supported players kneeling for racial justice, protect a monument, and want to make it lawful to run over protesters. He says black athletes don't play in Tennessee. Now, I'm talking to a black athlete who is currently in the car leaving Tennessee, transferring away from ETSU. You're heading back to Texas, I believe.
Yes.
What do you say to people who say athletes, especially black ones, should think twice about playing in Tennessee in this environment?
That's kind of funny to me because it's bigger than basketball, but black young men should have privilege like everybody else to play where they want to and be free. So if we want to play in Tennessee, we should be able to play in Tennessee and have no problems of playing there. But I just want to say it's probably just the way some people were born and raised. That's how it happens. So I really can't say too much about it. It's a mistake. You learn, you live by it. I mean, all I can do is learn, and I can live.
So you think going to ETSU was a mistake in hindsight?
So, in my eyes, the reason I came there because of the family culture, the winning. So then, that's why I came. But in the long run, I feel like it was a mistake. But again, I feel like it's a learning lesson that I learned because Coach Shay showed me things that some coaches won't do. he stood up for his players. Some coaches won't stand up for their players. So basically, like, I really learned from the situation.
Well, that's a really healthy, mature attitude to have. When did you enter the transfer portal? When did you decide to do this?
So it's kind of a crazy story. I was talking to Coach Shay earlier that day, and I was like, I'm thinking about transferring. He was like, I got meeting at 3:30. So my gut tells me he's gonna leave, but I didn't want to say anything. So I'm like, it's like perfect timing. So I just got in the transfer portal the day he resigned.
So you had a hunch this was coming.
Yes, I had one before it even happened. I knew it is like things kept telling me something's gonna happen, and my mom was like, just enter the portal. You'll be fine. So I just entered the portal.
How many players are transferring?
I'm not sure, but I know probably half the team, maybe more than half the team is transferring.
Wow. Half the team or more than half the team is transferring. That's pretty incredible. I appreciate you doing this. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I really do wish you luck in whatever comes next. Anybody has any questions, they should definitely type them in as we wind down with Day here. Day, I want to give you a chance here, if you want to address the people who have made this the controversy that it is. If you were to be able to look, let's say, a Rusty Crowe or a John Lundberg in the face one-on-one, which personally I think as senators in an area where you play basketball, they should have had the courtesy to come talk to you guys face to face, which they did not do. What would you say to those senators that did not come and talk to you, but instead threw grenades from Capitol Hill?
So where I'm from, I'm born and raised different. I don't argue. So all I tell them was, may God bless you and continue about yourself and continue about myself. And I just like keep going about the way, because it's not the godly thing to do. So I won't sit there and criticize you while you criticize me and turn me down. All I'm gonna do is uplift you and uplift everybody else to make the world a better place, because that's what God wants. That's where I come from, a God family. So I'm not gonna tell you, may God bless you and keep going.
Did you think by kneeling you were making the world a better place?
I was trying to make the world a better place, but I feel like with my voice and my teammates' voice and my coach's voice being heard, we made the world a little bit better than what it was the day before.
Data, I think that's really true. And one of the things that I've noticed, with your protest and with the 63-day protest at the Capitol, is that one of the ways that your protest is most effective is it actually exposes the retractors when they come out against these things and the actions that they take against these things. So I think by showing the true colors of the people who are so against the peaceful protests that you were undertaking, you really did Tennessee a service and you really did the country a service. And so I thank you and I wish you true luck in your career, and not just basketball, and also in your life. And I really do appreciate you coming on here and talking to us, and please pass the word to your teammates that Tennessee really does appreciate them. And I hope you stay safe and protected. And I want to, just as a last thing, why are you leaving right now, right this second? You mentioned this to me before we came on the air. What made you get in the car?
I'm really upset because Coach Shay lost his job for protecting the black community, and like, and that made me feel like a certain type of way, because Coach Shay talked to us earlier in the year after the news came out about us kneeling, and he was like, I don't have the problems you have. When the cop pull you over, you gotta put your hands out the window and pull them up. I just sit in the car. So when he told me those things and got real emotional, that told me that he was true. He was true who he was and how you should live your life. So once he's like, I'm saying, he's leaving, and I say I'm not staying here no longer because the way Tennessee is. You fire this man for doing something right for the black community. over some money. Cause I think it's what money is the most cruel thing in the world. That money takes over people. So he got fired with some money basically, and that told me that East Tennessee is not the school for me. So that's why I told my mom I'm transferring. Got in the car, I packed up. She questioned me, but all I can say is she questioned me, but I told her it's best for me to leave because I know my worth, I know my value, and I know how powerful my voice is. So that's why I got in the car and left because Coach Shay did what he had to do for me, and East Tennessee couldn't see what he was doing was the right thing, and that showed me how the character of the board, the athletic director, everybody up there is, and they told me it's time for me to leave because it's not for me.
Well, I think that's truly powerful. When you say you think it was about money, is that you mean about like boosters and donors and that kind of thing?
I think because earlier in the year, I caught some hints from the dealership on what they did, which was not cool at all. So I knew some things that they did and that wasn't cool.
Can you elaborate on that? You're talking about the Johnson City Honda dealership?
Yes, it's not cool.
What did they do?
So we got coaches up there with cars from Honda. We nailed day after that. They tell them to bring their cars back in. So now they're back in the other cars. So
hold on. Sorry, that's important. So you're saying that after Coach Shay supported the players, Johnson City Honda told the coaches who had Honda cars to turn their cars in.
Yes, and they was done donating money. Like people were taking money from the school. So no wonder why Coach Shay was frustrated because he's getting backlash constantly. He's getting backlash constantly, and we're getting backlash with him, but he's getting majority of it because he's the coach, and that's not right.
No, it's not right. It's not right at all. Day, any final thoughts for anybody as I let you go here?
All I want to say is I hope Coach Shay gets the opportunity to be the head coach again anywhere he goes. I wish him luck, his family luck. Thank you for having me on the show.
Appreciate you. Stay in touch, Day. Okay, travel safe.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye. So that was Day Hall. He's in the car heading away from ETSU because he felt uncomfortable with the way it was going there. And I mean, let's just think about a couple of the things that we heard him say there. First of all, he seemed to confirm a rumor that has been floating around social media, which is that Johnson City Honda had a big hand in pressuring this to happen with Coach Shay. Definitely seemed to make the connection between Coach Shay's support for the kneeling players and the separation. Seems to have nothing but good things to say about Coach Shay as a person. Almost anybody that's been following ETSU this year knows that their performance on the court is not why this happened. So this was pretty clearly linked to his support for the players. And and again, we should never forget that this comes in the context of a KKK Grand Wizard bus in our capital, comes in the context of fried chicken jokes in our capital, multiple. It comes in the context of penalizing protesters. So Day didn't say this, but what I will say is that athletes, you need to think twice before coming to Tennessee. But until something changes here in Tennessee, the message should be loud and clear that athletes and their voices are not welcome here, that they're required to check their voices at the door when they come in the state. And everybody needs to lift up the message that athletes need to think twice before coming to Tennessee. Thank you all for joining us. I really do appreciate it. And I'm going to sign off as I lose my voice. But a special thank you to Coach Shay for supporting the players and doing the right thing. Tennessee Republicans, shame on you for creating this pressure. Shame on anybody who pressured Coach Shay to leave. And thank you to the players and the coach for shining a light in the darkness. Because the more we do that, the better off this country and this state are going to be. So follow the holler, stick with us. We'll keep following this Story as it develops definitely isn't over. And thank you to everybody doing all the great work out there to lift up all these voices. Take care.